Welcome back, everybody. So Israel is now pausing some attacks in parts of Gaza so that a limited number of relief trucks can get in to feed those who we know from national headlines are desperately hungry. Reports say those trucks started to move today towards Gaza from Egypt, but this all comes after Israel blocked most food and other aid from the Palestinian territory for months. And aid is also getting into Gaza this way. We got this video into our monitors of those airdrops launched from Jordan. This is apparently in coordination with Israel. The Hamas-controlled health ministry, they say at least 14 people have died in the past 24 hours due to starvation and malnutrition. The ministry also says in the past few weeks, 147 people have died, and 89 of those are children. So let's talk live now to Kate Phillips-Barrasso. She's Vice President of Policy and Advocacy for Mercy Corps, a global humanitarian group. Catastrophic situation in Gaza. Keir Starmer today said it's not a crisis, it's a catastrophe. Tell us about your organization's work and what you're hearing from on the inside of Gaza, from those whose job it is to actually get the food off of the plane, off of the truck, and put it in the hands of a hungry child.
Thank you. Well, I think catastrophic is the right word, with zero exaggeration to describe the situation. I think this is probably one of the most extreme situations that I've worked on in 20 years of humanitarian assistance. What we're facing now after 21 months of conflict and 2 months of a near total blockade of commercial and humanitarian assistance going into Gaza is exactly what you would expect, right? People are dying of hunger. We have acute food insecurity across the entire strip. We have 500,000 people who are at the precipice of famine, and that includes our own staff at Mercy Corps. They report to us that they are only having one meal a day, sometimes skipping meals to make sure that their children eat, witnessing people fainting in the streets from dehydration and lack of food, and that children are saying things like they want to go to heaven because maybe at least there'll be food there because they're so desperately hungry. And we are going to be seeing more and more children dying if the situation doesn't change immediately.
I want to ask you about some reporting that I heard today on NPR. One of their reporters said that she was taken to a tarmac and shown humanitarian aid sitting on pallets. The words used were rotting in the sun. The blame on the UN for not being able to move some of these supplies. What are you hearing from your workers relative to that? Is aid such as baby formula sitting out and rotting in the sun in some places?
Well, it's a complicated situation. Mercy Corps itself has not received permission, despite repeated requests to bring in assistance that we have waiting in Egypt and Jordan since March 2nd. So we have 1,300 pallets of food and hygiene, vital hygiene items that are ready to go. And there has been some dispute about items that are inside that Israel has been asking the UN to pick up, but it's a very complicated picture. The UN oftentimes itself doesn't receive permission to go pick up those items. The roads have become extremely dangerous with banditry because people are so desperate. And also there's ongoing fighting that makes it very difficult. More humanitarian workers have died in this crisis than any other crisis in recent years. So it's not as simple as just going to pick up those items. There are a lot of logistical and real security constraints that have prevented UN actors from picking that up on the Gaza side of the border.
So let's go and really get to the heart of those logistics. If I am a mother or a father with a child in my arms in Gaza, what's the reality? I get up in the morning, and how difficult is it to take that child and go to try to get aid? What is the personal experience?
The personal experience would, probably being spending the entire day in pursuit of food, right? It is incredibly difficult to find specialized items like baby formula, particularly for babies that require special types of formula. People are picking through trash piles, trying to find anything edible, trying to find aid wherever they can find it. And there are some commercial markets where you may still find things, but prices have increased 7,000% since October of 2023. And our staff report that flour, a simple sack of flour costs something like $480 on the market if people can even find it right now. So it's basically an impossible situation. And I cannot imagine as a parent being in such a situation where I could not, under any circumstances, find nourishment for my children.
And Kate, we have seen the video the last few hours of those airdrops of supplies. What's the system in place, or does a system exist to where those pallets that are now being dropped by air get into the hands of these mothers and fathers who have these children in their arms?
This is the problem with airdrops. As much as we're happy to see some food being dropped in, they really should be a last resort for the reason you just noted, is that there is no system once they hit the ground. Oftentimes there can be chaos, confusion, and even danger when they land on the ground. They have been known to crush people. And so we've been really stressing. It also does not meet the scale of need remotely when we're talking about 2 million people who need to be fed on a daily basis. So we are stressing for this reason that the absolute best way that aid can be provided and get to those mothers and children is by opening every possible border crossing and flooding the zone with food items. Gaza is not an island. This is not a logistical problem. This is a political problem, and getting as much food as necessary to make sure that we do not see children dying from malnutrition.
Kate Phillips-Barrasso of Mercy Corps, we thank you for your insights. Will you please send your best to those who are not motivated by any politics? They're just on the ground wanting to feed hungry kids. Let them know we thank them for their service. We appreciate it.
I will. Thank you.